Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a very rare car for us, certainly. This is a Lexus IS 200, and it's an automatic SE version. Car's registered V381FGC, and the mileage is just 94,015. The reason we do our videos, by the way, and especially actually these road test ones, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, regardless of price, they get to see that car in operation. The reason for it's important is because, you know, we've been to see lots of cars which looked absolutely fantastic in photographs, only to get there and drive them and find they've got a very obvious fault that shows up. And the video is actually much more important for cars of this age, because they will have a few issues, and this one's no different. But we'd much rather know, as I said, people that when it comes to us, we'd be warned in advance if it's something that, you know, may put them off buying the car. But I'm going to go through the car for you. As you know from the advert, it's only had 3 owners, which is, you know, very low for the age of the car. It's got loads of history attached to the car. It's been kept generally very nice. It's very original. There's obviously the odd minor scraper mark on, you know, the car, but we are looking at a car that's now, oh, crikey me on my maths is appalling, 24 years old. But driving it, you'd never believe it. But certainly, I mean, inside it's in fantastic condition, I have to say. But going through the mechanical stuff, as I always do, engine starts instantly, settles to a lovely, smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge hovering just under half, and it's been running for a long time. People have just driven up from the south coast to us. So obviously well up to temperature, and that's exactly where it's meant to be. But these are stonking engines, it really, really are. So touch the throttle and it's keen, it goes, it's got a lovely kind of mechanical sophistication that you get from Lexus. Still after all these years, it's a genuine pleasure to sit behind this engine. It's a cracking unit, it really is. Engine then goes into the automatic gearbox. Lexus boxes are famously very, very tough indeed, and this one, all the gear changes feel exactly as they should do. They're very, very smooth indeed. Notwithstanding reputation, you should always do the obvious checks on any automatic car, and that's especially when you're stationary. When you select it into drive or reverse from neutral, there shouldn't be any kind of clunks or thunks that ram you in your back when it engages. And again, in every sense, the gearbox is operating absolutely perfectly. So coming to the steering and the chassis of the car, the steering's just lovely. I mean, it is a generation which is, you know, proper power steering, nothing electric about this at all, and all the better for it, especially being rear-wheel drive. You've got a real weight to it, but in a nice way. Is he going to stop there? Yes, he is. Yeah, it's got a sort of nice weighting to it, but it's very precise. It's a lovely feel to, you know, how it turns in. It's sort of kind of an oily smoothness to it. Really nice. I'm going to try to do that. I can't get it to do it because it is quite intermittent. At low speeds, when you come to a stop and you can turn it, it's got a bit of a creak from the front, which I don't know. It could be brakes, it could be like a strut, it could be suspension joint, something like that. It does do it. It didn't do it then. It doesn't do it every single time, but it is noticeable, and that's the whole point of these videos, is to pick up on these issues. And it's the only issue there is with the car, by the way. And as I say in the advert, it's not something we've investigated, nor will we be investigating it. You know, we're asking people to come in, their eyes wide open. The car is priced to accommodate that. This is way, way, way cheaper than a car of this quality, this mileage and condition should be. And so we've made plenty of allowance. So we positively encourage people who are coming not to try and negotiate, because there won't be any. But it is there, but in every other way. I mean, it tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. You know, on the move, there's no rattles or clunks on the suspension. The whole car feels absolutely as tight as a drum. It also rides beautifully. This era of car, which, you know, unfashionably high-profile tyres by modern standards, but all the better for it, because they can absorb those imperfections in the road, of which there's more in this day and age. So you just know you're in this vintage car because it just feels so cosseting at these speeds. But we go through the corners, it's agile, it's still sharp. Just a genuine pleasure to drive this car. And it's, you know, I'm currently driving an IS 300, and the chap bought an IS 250 from me. You know, which have, you know, obviously time's gone on, they've marched forward in terms of refinement and all sorts of things. But in other ways, you know, I still love the simplicity of cars of this age, because there aren't any of the distractions you get with modern cars. You know, there's loads, you know, I know it's got this fancy aftermarket thing down there, but generally speaking, you drive the car and that's it. And, you know, that's all you concentrate on. But a lovely setup, it really, really is. Finally coming inside the car, cracking me. I mean, Lexus are renowned for their build quality, but this is, you know, ridiculous, really. No squeaks or rattles, in lovely condition inside still. Everything I've pressed thus far, I haven't pressed every last button on the car, I'm not going to pretend I have, but everything that needs to work seems to be working well. All the electric windows, wing mirrors, even got air conditioning pumping out cold air. It's, you know, this is where the Japanese, you drive a 24-year-old BMW of this age, or Mercedes or Audi, and it's usually a game of, you know, which switch is actually going to work, you know, by that sort of vintage. Not to say they're bad cars, they're not, but you know, this is different level in terms of build quality compared to those, and certainly in terms of reliability as well. But just such a lovely place to sit. You've got this, you know, half leather interior, which just feels lovely in the car, lovely and comfortable, supportive seats, but in incredibly good condition. The dash layout is just beautiful detailing. The only thing that isn't original is the stereo here, but he does have the original Lexus stereo in the boot, which I believe is working, so you could put it back in if you so wish. Then you got this detailing of the dash in terms of the information binnacle in front is just beautiful. It's one of the loveliest little information pods you'll ever see. It's like a, you know, cliched, but it really is like a kind of high quality kind of watch you're looking at there. I mean, it really is a fabulous car. You know, I'm going to see if I get that to do that noise now. Yeah, just a clunk. Just felt some sort of rattling, sort of very slightly there, but really is, yeah. So stonking car. Apart from that, I can't really fault it. But you know, it is 23 years old or 24 years old, but certainly doesn't seem to drive like it at all.